A little girl lay dead for several hours. She was on the floor of her bedroom. Police say the girl's 25-year-old mother eventually decided to go to a neighbor's house, who in turn called police.
The first statement we received from the defendant was that it was an act of self-defense. After she made that statement to the detectives, she later recanted it and made a second statement, which she admitted that, in fact, she had stabbed her daughter multiple times about the body.
Nelly Vasquez Salazar is described as being calm during her talks with detectives, but she broke down in tears in court this morning as prosecutors described what they believe led to the death of 6-year-old Evelyn, including a phone call between Nelly Vasquez Salazar and her mother in Mexico several weeks ago.
In summary, Nelly said, "My daughter's sleepwalking. She called mom for advice. Her mom says she might be possessed." And then Nelly took it for whatever she took it for.
In the apartment, police found a butcher knife believed to be the murder weapon, along with a religious picture of St. Joseph, Mary, and the baby Jesus. The photo had also been cut up with the knife.
New York's #1 news, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
A gruesome story tonight in New Jersey. A mother decapitates her 2-year-old son and then takes her own life. And now there are serious questions about the agency that's supposed to protect children, because the mother only recently regained custody of her child. Good evening, everyone. At 11 o'clock, I'm Bill Ritter.
And I'm Sade Benarenwa. Tonight, for the first time, we are hearing the mother's rambling 911 calls after she had done the unthinkable.
The city of Camden, tonight in a state of shock. How could a mother do this, and why did she get the boy back?
Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan is here with disturbing new information. Jim?
Sade, there just is no way to make this story anything but awful. It was awful when the Camden police got the call about a mother killing her 2-year-old son. It was awful when police found the child's decapitated body on a floor. It was awful from the start, and it only got worse. What police found here on this tree-lined Camden, New Jersey street, in this home no horror movie maker could conjure. On the first floor, the decapitated body of a 2-year-old child, his head found in a freezer nearby. And the mother who killed her own son in so gruesome a way, found on the second floor dead from a self-inflicted stab wound to the neck, shortly after she called 911. At first on the tape, she blames the murder on her boyfriend. Then,
"You know what? I did it. I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm lying. I did it."
All right, we'll send somebody up there.
Yeah, you better wait. You know what? I don't even want to play this. I did it. Okay? I did it. I did it. I did it.
It is awful. I was in shock.
as an infant, Zari Thomas was taken away from his mother in 2010 because she left him alone in a car while she took drugs and passed out in a nearby park. Somehow, the mother, 33-year-old Siobhan Thomas, regained custody 4 months ago. But friends say she became increasingly isolated and gripped by addiction. When police arrived at the house, they found the decapitated body of Zari, and she was still upstairs, still on the phone. Eventually, they broke through the window and found her dead.
Do you understand the charge of possession of a weapon during a violent crime?
Yeah.
On that charge, if you're found guilty, it can carry a sentence of up to 5 years and or a fine in the discretion of the court. Do you understand the charge of murder? Do you understand the law pertaining to murder?
Yeah.
That can carry up to life imprisonment or the possibility of death, according to the law. On these charges, Mr. Jones, do you wish for me to screen you for a court-appointed attorney? Do you have the income to hire an attorney on your own?
Does it look like it?
I don't know, sir. I don't have any idea. I just ask that you answer my questions. Are you currently employed?
No.
Do you want me to screen you for an attorney?
No.
You're going to hire your own?
I don't need one.
Mr. Jones, I never advise anyone to go into court regardless of the charge without an attorney. Do you want to be screened for an attorney?
I don't care.
Mr. Jones. You state at this time you are currently unemployed. I am going to pre-qualify you for a court-appointed attorney. Someone from the Mr. Jones, someone from the Public Defender's Office will come over and speak with you about your case. Now, on the charges of possession of a weapon during a violent crime.
Standoff in Midwest City involving a Dallas man, a 2-year-old, and Midwest City police.
Search warrants just released today show the man made some bizarre statements during that standoff and also kept a notebook full of religious writings. News 9 crime tracker Adriana Vashinsky joins us live in the newsroom with our top story.
Well, Amanda, this search warrant was just filed this afternoon and details what happened during the hostage situation. It also lays out what police found at the suspect's apartment in Midwest City. This is where Midwest City police say 37-year-old Sammy Lamont Wallace lived since January 16th of this year. Apartment 3 at the Parkview Apartments, located near Reno and Midwest Boulevard.
I really can't believe he lived here.
The search warrant states police seized both a 3-ring binder and a spiral notebook filled with religious writings inside the apartment. They also seized the suspect's OG&E bill, a bank statement, and took photos of the scene. Court records show Wallace was from the Dallas, Texas area and was a wanted felon. His criminal background shows he had been arrested for assault and battery and robbery with a dangerous weapon, as well as harassment. He'd even served time in prison. Police say on Monday, Wallace entered this Walmart neighborhood market less than a mile away from his apartment and held a 2-year-old girl hostage, threatening her life with a knife. Police say during their negotiations, Wallace made mention of a group named the Illuminati. Police claim their research shows the Illuminati is a satanic cult and that they learned June 21st is their day of human sacrifice. But why Wallace chose June 17th to take the girl hostage is still unknown. Police say they were unsuccessful in their attempts to negotiate with Wallace and say they had to use deadly force to save the child's life. The search warrant states Wallace was shot only one time and was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Are you afraid of doing hard time?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you most afraid of?
Afraid of change.
After 2 days of hotel hopping, Port Arthur police found the man who's been on the run. Tips from the public helped investigators catch Tran. After 2 days of searching, one tip led officers to a motel in Port Arthur where Tran was hiding out. Leslie Rangel joins us live from the motel where officers found Tran. Leslie?
Yes, earlier today, police and the SWAT arrest team were here at room 110 where Tran was staying. This was his room. He had been staying here since 1 o'clock early this morning. Police were looking for a gun but found only money. Earlier today, police say that Tran was hopping hotels and apartments. This is video the Port Arthur Police Department took at the Driftwood Inn. It's a 3700 block of Memorial. Police investigators waited in an unmarked car while negotiators called the phone in room 110. The negotiator called the room 4 times, but no one answered. When the door cracked open, police officers saw that it was Tran and they arrested him, took him into custody, where after KFDM questioned him, he had mixed emotions, saying he was sorry, but had a smile on his face.
Just whatever happened happens. That's what destiny is.
Why did you do it?
I felt like I was possessed.
What would you say to his wife that was standing right there?
I'm sorry for everything about your husband lost, and I'm gonna learn from it and become better. And one
Think
day,
you gonna make it?
Oh, yes, sir.
Tran is charged with capital murder. His bond is set at $1 million. Live in Port Arthur, Leslie Rangel, KFDM 6 News.
Straight out to Michael Brown, anchor reporter, South Carolina Radio. Michael, what can you tell us?
Well, as you just heard, the mother, Amber Brackey, 19-year-old mother, she was arrested on January 14th, but she was denied bond. And the reason why she was denied bond is because they're saying she's at flight risk because she said she was going to Florida to see her mother. And then her boyfriend, John Weaver, he was 20 years old at the home at the time of the child's death when she slapped the child because she said he was possessed. He was his bond was set at $50,000, and he was released on February 4th.
I've just got in my hands the infant Rowan preliminary autopsy report, literally. Closed head injury, multiple subgaleal, that's of your scalp, contusions, subdural hemorrhages, thin layered subarachnoid hemorrhages. These are all hemorrhages and bruises to the brain. Swelling of the brain, that must have been some blow. Optic nerve sheath hemorrhage, which means the baby was shaken and the eyes go back, the orbs go back and forth with the pressure of the shaking and actually rupture the baby's eyes as part of the shaken baby syndrome. This little baby Rowan, just 16 months old, he looks like a baby doll sitting on a shelf in the toy section. He's so beautiful. Never had a chance. His mother, Jinkasar, saying she had to beat him to death because he was possessed.
She had to do it, that's right. And what she's saying, and she's admitting she did this, but she says she has a very good reason. She had to do it. Several days after that, the eyes sort of went back in the head. She waited a couple hours, smoked a little pot, then called police, and he was taken to the hospital where he later died that afternoon.
CNN has uncovered shocking details of a horrific murder that took place in New York early yesterday morning. Police believe that an actor who has appeared on the hit program Ugly Betty killed his mother with a sword. Our CNN senior correspondent Alan Chernoff has been digging on this story. He joins us from New York with this exclusive. Alan, what are you finding out?
Suzanne, police Tuesday morning found actor Michael Brea holding a bloody sword in his apartment, his mother dead in the bathroom with lacerations to the head. The actor's father, who spoke reluctantly, told me it was his sword that his son Michael allegedly used to commit the murder of his own mother.
The sword, I am a martial artist. I practice martial arts. The sword, that was my sword that was in the house.
That was your sword?
Yes. But it's not, we never use, try, or think about doing that. My son is not a violent person at all. Very lovely, peaceful young man.
Sir, you're telling me that the sword was yours, and according to the police, your son used your sword to kill your wife.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know.
When you say you don't know, do you doubt what happened?
I wasn't there. I was not in the house. I wasn't there.
But you know your son has been arrested. He's been charged with killing your wife. Monday night, Marcel Brea says his son Michael, an actor who had appeared on the show Ugly Betty, attended a Freemasons meeting at this Masonic lodge in Harlem. Michael called his father just before 11 p.m., complaining of a headache. Marcel, who is also a Mason and lived apart from his ex-wife and children, told his son to relax.
And I said, go do your prayer and lay down in your bed, relax. That headache will go away.
2 hours later, neighbors in the 4-story Brooklyn building say they heard a shriek.
Well, I heard the scream for help. Called 911. It's a scream. Like, ah, but it's more feminine and fair, and they are curling.
Neighbors called 911, and they say the police responded within about 5 minutes, but there was no answer at the door. So the police waited to get a crowbar to force open this door and another entrance to the apartment down the hall. Neighbors say they could hear Michael chanting. And what was his son saying?
Jerusalem, Aaron, Moses. Jesus said, pick up your bed and walk.
Police waited for emergency backup, suspecting a hostage situation. Eventually, they broke down the bathroom door, discovering Yannick Bria dead, lacerations across her head that police say were inflicted with the sword. Yannick's son, Michael, police say, was sitting on a bed holding the sword. Marcel refuses to believe it, saying his ex-wife and son loved each other deeply.
I don't believe that my son killed his mother. That wasn't my son. That will not. It's not the son that I know.
Michael Bria is charged with second-degree murder and criminal possession of a weapon. His father, Marcel, says he did not raise a killer. He's in the process of hiring a lawyer to defend his son. And meanwhile, he says he still needs to identify the body of his ex-wife and prepare the funeral that he says she deserves. Suzanne, he calls her a saint.
That's such a terrible story.
I am going to introduce you to the gospel right now. You are a rebel. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, I'll tell you straight up. You are a rebel against the living God. This is your natural disposition. Why? Because you were born in sin. We are in a prison cell. And it takes the awakening and the grace of God, you call it the prevenient grace of God, to awaken us to the fact that we are lost and we can't get out. We're headed towards destruction fast.
Inside the halls of the Vatican, there is so much concern about the devil's influence on this country that it has started offering courses on exorcism.
Pedro Barrajon, a professor of theology, is teaching some of the exorcism classes.
Our bishops need to know how to confront the devil. They need to know how an exorcism is conducted and how to help set people free from the influence of the devil.
Italians got a taste of the devil's influence a couple of years ago when 2 teenagers were stabbed, bludgeoned, and buried alive here in the woods northwest of Milan. Members of a heavy metal band named the Beasts of Satan were convicted in the double murder. One of the victims was allegedly killed because she resembled the Virgin Mary.
Despite the fact that the presence of the satanic world is fairly widespread, we only knew of rituals where animals were slaughtered.
Since then, Italian authorities have been grappling with a string of murders linked to devil worship. The Vatican now has priests working alongside law enforcement officers to tackle a wave of satanic crimes.
We invite the police to sit in on the exorcism classes so that they can understand the spiritual and theological dimensions of this.
Father Armoth is a busy man these days. He says that every week he sees up to 50 people who claim to be possessed by the devil.
I see a very strong presence of the devil because men are following him.
He has helped train some 300 priests in exorcism. The key, says Father Barrajon, is to train priests how to differentiate between psychiatric problems and satanic possession.
This is the key, but I can tell you that those who perform exorcisms, they just have this sense. They just know. Sometimes they look for signs, like if the person is afraid of the cross, or baptismal water, or pictures of Christ. They shake a lot or start screaming, and they may possess extraordinary strength. The priests know what...
I'm really very, very upset about that baby. Oh, God. I don't understand how she could do a thing like this.
That's what police want to know, too. They were called out to this home off Wayside near Vance Jackson around 5 this morning, and when they got here...
The officers contacted the suspect who was sitting on the couch and was actually screaming that she killed her baby.
The officers took her into custody.
You can hear Audie Sanchez yelling she wants her baby. I'm told a steak knife was used to decapitate the 3.5-week-old child. His body was mutilated and partially cannibalized by his 33-year-old mother.
When I heard about the baby, I cried. It's all, and I was very, very, very upset. And oh gosh, you should have seen the commotion.
Sources tell me Sanchez was hearing voices and acted on them while watching her newborn. The little boy's aunt and grandmother were also in the house, along with 2 other small children.
The baby was found in one of the rooms. The baby had exchanged hands. Somebody had taken the baby from the suspect and had called 911.
An Ohio mother accused of putting her 1-month-old daughter in a microwave and then turning it on will plead not guilty to charges of aggravated murder. 26-year-old China Arnold appeared in court today via video link. She looked tired and at times sobbed openly. The coroner's office in Dayton says little Paris Talley died of hyperthermia, or high body temperature. It's believed the child was likely heated in a microwave before her death last year. The suspect's bail has been set at $1 million.
I-record yung kumakain. Kasi makapagsilang ko bakbakal yung balay. Uy. Ako'y maniyo lang ba yung sinalalakan? Ah! 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 Sige man! Akakagin na ba si Minto? Ah! Ala! Ay ba nakalamin? Sagot tayo timbang niyo! Ah! Ah! Ato kami! Ah! Ah! It is bata kami, man! Hindi ko na ayaw mo! It is bata kami!
Very for sure, because tonight students who were in the classroom are telling News 10 that the little girl even tried cutting herself and another student in class.
As frightening as that sounds, some parents are fuming mad, and the school, they say, didn't do more to protect their kids. News 10's Simney Chuen is live at John Sloat Elementary, where it all went down. Simney?
This is a letter that went home with kids today about what happened. It tries to reassure parents and tells them that there were no weapons or dangerous objects involved. But one parent calls that an outright lie. And tonight we talk with kids who were in the classroom at the time, and they give us an eyewitness account of what happened.
So I was scared and I was crying really bad.
Students at John Sloat Elementary describe a day of horror on Thursday when one of their classmates, a 5th grade girl, started shouting she was part of the Illuminati and threatened to kill other students.
She said she wanted to sell her soul to the devil, and then she said she'll kill everybody. Everybody just started crying because they were scared that they were going to die that day.
At one point, students say she grabbed a pair of scissors.
Yeah, I see her trying to cut herself and put and like draw blood, but then she got up and tried to stab another girl that was a seat away from her.
Students say she also drew Illuminati symbols like this one and wrote 666 in the bathroom. Students say her outburst went on for at least an hour, with the teacher only telling them to ignore the girl.
He thought she was just trying to get attention.
When they told the teacher about what was going on,
Antonio Farinas contacted News 10 because he thinks the school should have notified him immediately.
to not be notified about it all day until 6:30 at night last night, that was real upsetting, because when I picked up my kids from school, they were in tears.
Some parents we spoke with think the school could have done more to protect the kids in class and should have taken the girl out of class much sooner.
With all the stuff that's been going on with schools, what does it take for a child to show you that there's something wrong, for her to actually follow through with what she said she's going to do?
They should have stopped it like right away and not let her scare them more, you know?
News 10 also contacted the Sacramento City Unified School District. They say that they are investigating a disturbance at the school and that they responded immediately and that the students were safe. Now, as for the student at the center of this, students tell us she was at school today, but not in the classroom. Reporting live from South Sacramento, Simney Chuen, News 10.
Simney, thanks.
We asked people on our Facebook page how they think the school should have responded, and Teresa writes, I would probably have liked to have been called or informed right away. But Laura says, I hope the school works with her family to get her the proper help she needs. I think the school handled it well.